Hello, everyone, and welcome to MSUFCU's Financial Education Seminar Series. We appreciate you all joining us and are excited to be here with you virtually. These presentations were created with you in mind, with the intention to give financial education on a number of relatable topics to help expand your knowledge of finances. Each event will be hosted by a member of our financial education department or by one of our partners, connecting you with resources in our community. We have a number of diverse presentations planned for you this year, and you can explore and register for them by visiting us at msufcu.org/events. Tonight's event is being recorded. To rewatch or share the presentation, go to youtube.com/MSUFCU and then select the MSUFCU seminar series from the playlist options. Recordings are available within 2 weeks of the events. We will have time after the presentation to address any questions submitted to the Q&A, and this segment will not be recorded. You may send your inquiries at any time during the event, which will later be answered in the order they were received. We will also provide additional resources in the chat, but please reserve the Q&A panel for your questions. I'm Therese Bacon, and I'll be your facilitator this evening. If you have any concerns or technology issues, I invite you to reach out to me in the chat. Again, questions for our presenter should be submitted to the Q&A. Devontae Montgomery, sorry, I don't know where that came from, Devontae. I know you well. I know your last name is Montgomery. Devontae Montgomery will be presenting on the topic of raising children with financial literacy tonight. Thanks so much for leading our presentation, Devontae. I'll now turn things over to you to introduce yourself to our audience, explain why you're passionate about educating folks on this evening's subject, and then we can begin your presentation.
All righty. Thank you, Therese Bacon. So my name is Devontae Montgomery. I am a senior financial educator for MSU Federal Credit Union. I've been doing this work now for about 6 years and am super passionate about it. As it relates to the topic that we're going to go over today, I think it's so very important for us to teach our children about finances instead of letting them, become older and them really having to figure those things out. So I always think about it from the aspect, it's much easier to raise a financially literate child than it is to kind of create a financially literate adult. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but if we can start those things as early on as possible, then it's going to be easier for us and they'll have a kind of a easier go at learning about these financial things. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first we got some polling questions, okay? First question is, at what age should children begin learning about finances? What do we think?
And I think the chat is disabled for our
Okay.
participants, so they can actually put that in the Q&A if they have any thoughts on this. You can just put your comments into the Q&A and submit it that way, so we know that you're.
All right. I know when I first got into this work, I probably thought kids should start learning about money somewhere around like 7 to 8.
We have someone that says preschool with some math basics, and our other participant said 7 years old. So,
All right. Good stuff. Thank you all for participating in that. So preschool and 7. Okay, so I feel relative to some around the same age. Okay, so how old was your child when you began teaching them financial literacy?
I'll wait for some other people to send in their answers. But for my children, which are now 22 and 20 years old, I really missed the boat on this one. So I didn't start till they were probably, 13, 14, 15 years old before I really started talking to them about finances.
Okay. Thank you for sharing, Therese.
Yeah.
I don't have any children, but I do have nieces and nephews. So um, I it all depends on which one I run into. So sometimes I've started talking to them at around 8 or 9. And sometimes my nephew, he's 16, and I've had to get on him about finances. So
And we did get one answer, and it said it was about 40 years ago that their children were that young, but probably around elementary school ages when they started with their children. So that's great to hear.
Okay, great to hear. Thank you all so much for participating in this poll. We'll move on. So, some good facts to understand. Did you know that 67% of parents think their children ages 5 to 8 should be learning about money? And then most parents do not begin teaching their children about finances until they are at least 15 years old. Some of the correlation for this when they get their first job, when they need to start to learn how to handle their own money, maybe allowance increases at this age, they're starting to do more things in school. Life gets rather expensive at about 15 or 16 with becoming a senior, getting to the end of high school and whatnot. But these are some really, really interesting facts. So some things that we will explore, age-appropriate concepts as we're teaching about money, fun ways to implement that learning, and then benefits of youth membership. So also some good things to know is that children learn about money aspects or aspects of money differently at different ages, but it is definitely helpful to identify the main concepts a child can comprehend in order to understand the best ways to teach them about what money is, how we earn it, why we spend it, and also why we save it. So we're going to go through and we're going to break down based off of kind of school ages or grades, shall we say, kind of how to have those conversations about money and really introduce it to children. All right, first things first is pre-kindergarten and younger. So depending on what time you go, what age a child is when they go to kindergarten, somewhere around 5. So we're thinking about like 5 or younger. Some of the concepts that we can start to introduce to them. First is needs versus wants. So really understanding what is a need, that shelter, food, water, having that understanding, and then what is a want. Whether it's the identification when you're in Target and you're picking up those different toys and things like that. Or if it's even something that you all go through around the house, really starting to identify those. And then also basic goal setting. So even children 5 years and under can have those different goal setting, whether it is, if I pick up my toys and put them away, I get a little extra playtime, or whatever it is that, those goals that you may come up with. Um, my godson is 2, and he does not understand the concept of goals yet, but definitely trying to introduce him to the understanding behind, like, if you do this, then you can do this. So I think that's kind of like the basic concept of goals in the beginning, and then actually giving them, let's set some goals, let's understand some things that are age appropriate, of course, and being able to accomplish those things, feeling proud, whether it's, using a potty, those types of things too. All right. And then we have young elementary. So this was probably around like first to second grade. What are those things? What are those concepts they'll have understanding of? Needs versus wants, but prioritization. So if you've already introduced them to the needs versus wants, kind of in that, let's say 3 to 5 range, with understanding needs versus wants with the prioritization piece is, hey, these are my needs, these are my wants. Let's understand kind of the importance of them. So whether it's writing it down or using numbers to understand those things, whatever it is, using that. And then money identification. So when it comes to counting skills, this is now at the point where we can start showing them different types of bills, different coins to identify those coins, and then also to begin to count. Or when you're in the store and you recognize something like, hey, how much is that? How much money do we have when we look at the money that we do have? Those types of things. And then the value and purpose of money. So the understanding that we, use money to purchase different things. That's how the world goes. And then the value of it, my mom used to always tell me, money doesn't grow on trees. I think that I get it now, of course, but younger, it was just like, well, they told me it was paper, I thought maybe, the trees helped it out. But as far as understanding that value of money, understanding that money is finite, so it's not infinite, and that there is, kind of things that we have to think about when we're spending money on different things. So if that's the ice cream truck, right? If you get a $2 ice cream cone from the ice cream truck, then maybe that means that we can't pick up all the toys that we may want when we go back in the store. Those types of, kind of easy applicable examples. All right, and then we have older elementary. So this is around that fourth to fifth. Some people still consider sixth as an elementary school, but I probably around the fourth to fifth grade. These are some of those different concepts. So now we're kind of, as you can see, we're building upon what we would have learned previously. So making change, so being able to count things out, understanding, if this is $5.50 and I give them $6, what am I going to get back? Um, Also the cost of those different things as well. Of course, making change, cost of purchases, they kind of go hand in hand. And then savings account management, I will say that that seems to be one of the most exciting things for kids, being able to take some money and put it in their savings account. We'll talk about MSUFCU's particular youth accounts, but we also have a way that kind of also rewards them for doing those different saving measures, but really starting to get them to understand the concept of saving, why it's important, and then even opening up that savings account. All right. And then as we get to middle school, some of those concepts. So now we're at sixth grade and beyond. Compensation and money management. Okay. So if we want to start to do things like allowances so that they can understand that, if I do things right, do things that's asked of me, then in some way I may be rewarded. If that is through allowance, then helping them understand that concept behind compensation, and then also money management. So if I get that $10 this week, I can't just go and just spend it because I'm not going to have any money left. So getting them to understand now in the beginning, it may be a little rough to get them to understand that concept, right? Because parents, hey, I know my parents going to get it for me. But if we work off of we have this amount of money to spend, then they'll begin to understand that I can't have all of the things. Comparison shopping. So whether that is going from Aldi to Meijer to see what those different prices may be, or if they are asking for something, kind of looking around and saying, hey, well, let's look at some of those different prices. Which one is going to be the less expensive one? So really starting to do those types of things for comparison shopping. And then understanding the relationship between time and money. Now, by this point, they of course have went through a lot of lessons just in school in general. So really getting them to understand the relationship between time and money is going to be important too. Um, so understanding that you go to work so that you are able to make money so that you can help to take care of them, right? Or so that you can take care of them. So that time and money relationship, understanding that sometimes we have to give up our time in order to obtain money. Um, and then I even like to think about it. So my niece, I would say that she's rather advanced, but she's about 7 or 8, and we have talked about the time and money relationship, and she seems to get it pretty well. I told her that uncle only makes $5 an hour so that we can make the counting easy, okay? And so if she asks me for something for her birthday, I'm like, hey, did you look up? Did you see how much it is? Well, let's talk it through. She lives in Texas, and I'm like, okay, well, this is, let's say she wants to go to some trampoline park when I get there. And I'm like, okay, well, looks like this is about $20 an hour. So how long is uncle going to have to work in order to make this $20? She's like, oh, you'll have to work 4 hours, Uncle. So, those types of things as it relates to the time and money relationships. All right. So we've learned about time and money. They're understanding the savings. They're understanding what it means to spend and all of those things. And now, as we get into high school, this is where we start to build in a little more of that independence piece. So, of course, we've taught them a lot of the concepts around money. And now we're going to also teach them those financial goals. So remember in the beginning, we talked about basic goal setting. So now it's really important to hone in on those financial goals. What is it that I want to do? How can I, kind of save up to those things? And then next to that is how are my habits directly correlated to how much money I can save? So if I like to purchase things or if I like snacks, I'm a snack guy, I like snacks, been like a snacks my whole life. So I put it in relation to that, if I want to get a candy bar, well, what is that going to take away from me? Really starting to understand those things because they are now headed to adulthood, saving, spending, as well as investing. I remember investing used to be a thing that we didn't really talk about kind of until college or till after college. But now, one, this next generation, they're starting to become so interested in those things so early. And two, it's starting to become integrated into their learning, whether it's just someone offhandedly mentioning investing and those things like that. So, for those concepts of high school, definitely teaching them about that investing, that saving, as well as the spending and really also how they correlate amongst one another. So if we're spending all our money, we can't necessarily save, and we definitely probably won't get to investing. And then compensation and the workforce. So whether it's you telling them, hey, this is your particular job, or if they have the opportunity to go and do something where they can earn money for it, whether it's babysitting, whatever it may be, really helping them to understand the thing behind compensation. So now we'll start talking about taxes that are taken out, all of those little deductions that start to happen. So really looking in on that and then as well as the workforce. And then as far as those taxes, it's always a funny conversation when you're like, hey, I earned $10 an hour, but you mean to tell me I'm not going to get all of that money? Absolutely not. Welcome to the real world, kid. So really starting to hone in on that. And then the workforce, as we look at the workforce, looking at jobs, looking at what it is that they want to do, but also helping them to understand that sometimes you don't get the job that you want right away. You might have to do something different. And then having that value built in with money will make this conversation easier as well. All right. And then if they are in high school, we also have our financial 4.0 website and application. So if you look on your app store or on their app stores and download Financial 4.0 for MSU, then you'll be able to download this app that has a host of an abundance of education in it that are geared at high school and college age. So weekly articles and graphics. We also have our podcast. So we really, as a credit union, as a financial education department, we try and bring financial education in whatever ways or whatever avenues that we can. So this Financial 4.0 is one of those ways. Also, our Wallet Watch podcast is too, and it's integrated right into the app. You don't even have to go to any like secondary app or anything like that. Financial tools and calculators. So if they want to see, hey, if I save this amount based off of the interest that I'm getting, what am I going to be able to make? Understanding that too. And then MSUFCU promotions and offers as well. And then the content is broken up into categories. So we have budgeting, we have credit, career, college, lifestyle, and travel. Really a wide range of topics that they have the opportunity to learn about. And now we're going to start going over some of our youth account benefits. So when it comes to our youth, we start at zero. So first is our Sweet Pea account, and then the next after that is our Dollar Dog account. So these would cover children ages 0 to 6 for those two accounts. Some of the things that our accounts have that you can use. We have our certificates, so you can actually start them a certificate. We have a really unique product called a 1-year add-on certificate. The 1-year add-on, of course, allows you to put money into the certificate, even though you may have started it with $50. Of course, most other certificates, you have to agree to whatever that amount of money is initially. But this add-on certificate is a really, really great feature, especially for those youth accounts. And then we have our Coverdale Education Savings Account, which allows you to save up for their education. And then there are also free gaming apps that we have, which we'll talk about some in just a sec. But these free gaming apps are apps that help with understanding financial education just in a gamified way. All right, so first we have Saving with Piggy. So this is that first app recommended for ages 2 through 5. This is one that my godson does like. And then we have our Cyber Saver account. So this is the Cyber Saver account is for ages 7 to 10. And then we have also our Money Club account. This is for ages 11 to 13. So for that Cyber Saver, they could get a mobile app login. So they're able to log in and see that, or you're able to log in and help them with that too. Computer line access, and then also a prepaid Visa. So this is helping to understand that concept of money, helping to understand what it means to really spend. So this also goes hand in hand with the things that we just talked about as well. And then for the Money Club account, you have your mobile app as well as those different e-alerts. So the e-alerts could be, hey, your account is getting low, or hey, we noticed that you deposited some money. Good job. Checking accounts as well as a debit card. So now it's moving into that responsibility part where they can actually get a debit card. And then these are some more games. We have Saving Draggy as well as Saving Magic. And the recommended ages are beneath those. But, I'm not going to tell a lie. I like Saving Draggy. I definitely played it myself. And I am much older than 13. Don't tell anyone. And then we have See You Succeed. So See You Succeed is for ages 14 to 17. So this is really one of those accounts that is helping to empower them to understand that financial journey. Okay, so for the youth visa, this is for ages 15 to 17 for that youth visa, where they can get up to a $500 limit. Platinum or Platinum Plus options. So our Platinum card has a very low interest rate, but it doesn't have any type of money back with it, money back feature. The Platinum Plus has a 1% money back feature across the board, no like special categories or anything like that. And then a co-borrower is also required for this particular thing, of course, because they are under 18, so that makes sense. But this allows them to grasp the concept of credit. If you decide, hey, maybe a youth visa is not necessarily something you want to do right now, then maybe you add them as an authorized user on one of your credit cards. But we definitely empower you to utilize this youth visa. All right, and then some other games is Dream Racer. And then as far as some things to keep in mind, feel free to involve others. So if you have friends or family that have older children and they, seem to have done a decent job of helping out with understanding for their kids understanding the concepts of money, then maybe asking them what it is that they did. Understand that it's never too late to start. So even though we went over these different methods that, kind of are earmarked for different ages, even if someone hasn't started, that is perfectly fine. They can, still get into it, still begin to understand these different concepts. This presentation may be a really good place to start. Make learning fun, because I remember when I was that age, if it wasn't fun to me, I don't know if I wanted to do it. So same thing is going to apply. I think even more so as we continue to go along, because our attention spans seem to become a little shorter. And then it's okay to ask for help. And then also exploring those free resources that are out there. So whether it's looking at junior achievement, or if your child is in the Lansing school system, then maybe they're going to be a part of Lansing Save, those types of programs that are out there to really help you to learn, help them to learn and grasp those different concepts. All righty. And so quick presentation. Thank you all so much for being here. Feel free to check out any of our other additional resources. So we have Wallet Watch, which is that podcast. And then we have our Desk Drawer Fund, which is our foundation that helps with the different communities that we serve, Financial 4.0, which I talked about, and the seminar series, which you are already here for. But do feel free to go back and look at those different presentations that we have coming up and sign up for the ones that you do want to be a part of. Therese, do we have any questions?
It doesn't look like we've had any questions come through, so I just want to thank everyone for being here this evening. As you close out the Zoom, a survey will automatically pop up, so we invite you to take that survey just so we can get some feedback and help form our future presentations around your feedback. And once again, remember that attending these qualifying sessions automatically enters you into our monthly drawings to win a $50 Visa gift card. So another little promotion there for attending these seminar series meetings. So that's all we have for you this evening, and we hope that you all have a great night and invite you to sign up for any other seminar series that would interest you. We do have some coming up. I put them in the chat here. March 5th is dealing with difficult people. And then on Wednesday, March 6th, we have a presentation on growing your savings. So those will be really exciting. We invite you to sign up for those on our website. So thank you, everyone, and have a great night.